Oh, baby. Welcome in, All-America Cup Series Thursday. Race number 2 of the 11th season of AACS brings us to Las Vegas. We got a full field for all of you tonight. 40 cars had to out-qualify out of a total of, I believe, 48 to be in tonight's show. Up front on the top spot, the 06, Chris Worrell. We're going to talk to him momentarily, making his first start of the season. And look at this field. Las Vegas is beautiful, and we're going to have a great mile-and-a-half race tonight. Let's go ahead and get Chris Worrell up and into the booth. Hey, Chris, this is Rowdy up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey there.
Hey, it's been a hot minute since I've gotten to talk to you, but the last time I talked to you, you were qualifying up front, you were winning races, and here we are in a Gen 4 car at Las Vegas. You got the pole. We're going to win from it today.
I'd like to. It'd be pretty cool. So far, I haven't got a win in this league yet. It's really tight competition in here, so definitely got a good starting position. Going to try to just keep the tires under me and take it easy. And I'll get run over in the meantime and hopefully be there at the end. So hopefully.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Chris. I'm going to send you back down. Have a good race.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good...
Oh, well, set them a little bit too early. So, yes, we do have audio issues. I'm not sure what's going on. We have lost all... Oh, it's back. That was weird. Don't know... We lost iRacing audio for a hot minute there. It appears we do have it back, as well as next time, Bob, we will see the green flag. We have 134 laps on the docket here at Las Vegas. And it's going to be one heck of a race. Check, we got some information for you guys. So, as we wait at the flag stand for the drop of the green flag, things we're going to check in with Barney on. Our flagman lets us know 75% fuel in the car. So right around 38 to 40 laps on fuel. If these guys save, probably 41, 42. They get 4 additional sets of tires. No fast repairs. Zach Henry is subbing in for Chris Heller tonight in the 16 car. Initial starts are on the flagman. Like this one right here, 3 green-white checkers if we need them. Ladies and gentlemen, into the start zone. Chris Worrell will lead them to green, and the All-America Cup Series race to it. Las Vegas is underway. And we love when iOverlay has a minor stroke as we dive into turn 1. Now we get it underway. Andrew Skelnick, a rookie to the outside right now of Chris Worrell. He's going to try to take that position down the back straightaway, and he will have it over Chris Worrell. Bottom line still dominant. I wonder if Chris can get back to him. But so far, we got green all the way through lap 1, off of turn 4. A giant fan of cars. We even got some 3-white action. There's a wreck. Big pile up just in front of the restart zone. Happens all underneath Barney, your flagman. The 3 car of James Silver. Garrett Johnson in the 15. See if anybody else got involved. Not sure. We do have an incident report. Maybe. No, we don't. We'll have to look at it guess what, guys? Old-fashioned way. We're going to have to speed her up, though. And here we go. So I believe it's going to start right here around this 3 car. We're going to take a look. Somebody got turned. I think it might have been the 66 in the Myconite car. If this is where it happens. 66 coming up across the 15. I mean, I'm not sure where he thinks the 15 is supposed to go. Not clear high. Grabs the right rear of the 3 car. 92, nowhere to go. Looks to be about a 4-car pileup. And that brings out the first yellow of your race tonight, and I'm not sure what's going on with this session. It was fine in practice, but we got a lot of cars blinking out. I've been told by some others that this is not just a me issue. Even if they have draw all 60 cars, which is the max on iRacing, it still shows guys blinking out. So I wonder if there is an issue. We also got Jake Harris out of the race. We don't know when that happens. We could take a look at a replay and see if it's what we think. He's already blinked out at this moment. I don't know what happened to Jake Hare. But it's showing us that he might have wrecked at the start of the race. I'm not sure if that's correct. So, I don't know. Not sure what happened there. Chris Worrell lost the lead to Andrew Skelnick. And the lead with the 56 machine. Next time by, we should see the 1-to-go signal. While we sit here for a second under yellow, I will let you guys take a peek behind the blanket. I'm going to close out of iOverlay and restart it and see if that fixes some issues. And if it doesn't, iOverlay is now back up. Well, a yellow coming to complete the opening lap comes out. We're going to get him reformed now. And this series, leader has lane choice. If the leader wants to start on the top line, they can. But it is not lane choice, so everybody has to listen to iRacing. Andrew Skelnick will choose the top line. And I'm getting clarification. Jake Hare hit somebody during the opening pace laps to bring out the yellow. And we will wait at the flag stand with Barney, get him re-racked, restacked, and ready to re-attack. Andrew Skelnick able to go to the lead off that top line with the start of the race. Now, as the rules, as I understand, he does not get to launch wherever he wants in the restart zone. You're actually supposed to launch as you hit the restart zone per the rules that I was handed. So everybody else in the field can still get a good guess on when we launch. The green flag is out, and away they go. Chris Worrell on the bottom. Can he get the lead back? 3 wide, not a good restart for Chris Worrell. The 31 of Drew Pro is on the top line. 88 of Nathan Jurgensen on the bottom. This is what Andrew Skelnick sees through his mirror. And he's going to gap Chris Worrell. We got some 3 wide action just in the back of the pack towards the midfield as well. And this time, I think we'll keep her green. At the flag stand, Andrew Skelnick leads the first green flag lap. Rest of the field getting organized, and he's already pulled out to a 6/10 lead over Chris Worrell, who hangs on. Justin Thompson, the 33, looks up the inside. Trying to clear Drew Prowl. He will get the clear. Douglas Henry in the 6th spot in the 60 on board with him. Doug trying to use that middle lane. Maybe at the beginning of the race it's good, but the bottom line will save you tire. He's trying to go forward. Now Doug trying to move on the outside of Drew Pro. And the rest of the field here just about through the top 10 gets single file. I believe that is Elijah Cool in the 65, also on the top line. He's trying to get around Zach Henry for that 9th spot. He will clear. Douglas Henry was able to clear into the 5th spot around Drew Pro. But right now, Andrew Skelnick pulling away as he burning up those tires. Chris Worrell seems pretty content with where he is, and the cars behind him aren't really pushing that hard either to get around him. Nathan Jurgensen gets in line with Justin Thompson, but it's still Douglas Henry right now on the move. Excuse me, that's not Douglas Henry. That's the 31 of Drew Prowl. He's trying to get to the inside of Matthew Weeks. Matthew Weeks in the 11. Now into the 6th position. Drew Prowl going backwards right now. And now we got some action into the top 3. Nathan Jurgensen is looking about a lane higher through the corner. The bottom is where you want to stay, is where you want to be if you want to save tire. Justin Thompson is rotating a lot better. He's trying to grab 3rd right now. He's going to miss the bottom here, but could still build a run on the 88. Meanwhile, Matthew Weeks running down Douglas Henry for that 5th spot. And we just got a good old battle right now as Justin Thompson can't quite get the rotation. Now Douglas Henry has a car underneath. Doug likes to roll the middle so far, so he's not really too intimidated, but I'm worried about the tires. Matthew will have to get back in line. And even Doug is preferring to stay in that middle line, which allows Matthew to get some clean air to the nose. On board with the number 11. Doug coming down like a late apex. Seems to be working out for him right now. Justin Thompson, I think he's really going to try to roll the middle here. Maybe drive underneath the ADM exit. No, he stays to the high line. I think he wanted to rotate down, but just had a lot better run than the 88. Didn't feel like he gave himself some options there. Douglas Henry might enter this battle. On board with him. This is his cockpit. Nathan Jurgensen, rear view mirror. While all these guys are moving around, trying to find the advantage, Chris Worrell hasn't really pulled away from him, but I think he's comfortably saving tire right now. He's okay with Andrew Skelnick getting out by now over a second, nearly 1.5 seconds. He's content right now. Justin Thompson out to the outside of Nathan Jurgensen. This is going to be a pass to get himself into the top 3. Justin Thompson, he should get him here. Nathan Jurgensen gets back in line. Looking to the top 3, Justin Thompson. And you're going to see out of turn 4, we're going to watch the gap with your leader. There's Andrew Skelnick. And here comes that clump of drivers, some 2nd to 6th, and then a few little groups here and there. Still a lot of guys moving around right now in the back half of the top 20. Matthew Weeks, Douglas Henry still side by side. Only one driver pit during that yellow that wasn't involved in the wreck. That was Mr. Garrett Johnson. Excuse me, he was involved in the wreck, so I take that back. I thought he might have been a guy to go top off fuel. We're going to talk about that. That was honestly part of the strategy that allowed guys to run up front and even played into the winner's hand at Daytona last week. If a caution comes out, maybe pit, grab that extra fuel when everybody else comes in when they're quote-unquote comfortable or low on fuel. Well, you already have a few extra laps in the tank. You can dictate some strategy, have the advantage. And especially at 1.5 miles, you're going to see that play a part. By the way, guys, Chris Worrell is reeling back in Andrew Skelnick. We got a yellow in the back. I think it might be rookie Ty Mosley. It's a pileup on the front stretch, just like the wreck from the first lap. Matthew Legatt making his first career start. That car is torn to pieces. There's a 12 of Ty Mosley, Jeremy Flanagan involved. Let's take a look at the replay. What happens? So we're going to watch these leaders fly by. I believe this was outside the top 20. Oh, I see it just before the restart zone, just like the first wreck. I believe it started with the 20 car of Mosley. I don't like how guys are blinking out, man. I don't know if that's just me or what. And a bunch of cars come by wrecking. Let's watch this battle, see if the cars stay within range. So you got the 72 pushing up into the 12. Does that put the 12 in the fence? Now the 72 is just basically hooking him. 6 car on Mike Husby, nowhere to go. I think we're going to see him dart up across the track. Cars blinking in and out, man. I'm not sure what's happening here. If this is iRacing, if it's me, if other people are seeing cars blink out. See, he's blinking out in the replay, which means it may also be him. So more cars piled in, and we just don't really know the extent of the wreck after the beginning. This is Mike Husby. He'll actually make it through the wreck. And I don't know if it's because there are just too many cars on track for what, I don't know, an iRacing League server can really handle at a certain rate. I mean, I'm sure the servers that are put up when you make a league are not as strong as like officials. Maybe even hosted for that matter. But seems like we always have a few issues. And that's where the wrecks tend to happen. But obviously that was a blatant overdrive by the 72 of Jeremy Flanagan. His car is destroyed. Mike Husby got some damage. There's Ty Mosley. His car is done. Thomas Stokes was involved in that first wreck. So a handful of guys down on pit road. Matthew Legatt, that car is destroyed. And we did have a handful of guys hit pit road. Zachary Henry was the first to lead him in and beat him out. Douglas Henry also hit pit road. Now, 4 extra tire sets, I don't think it's really too far out to say that maybe a few guys did grab some that felt like they needed them. Dylan Rosenberg hit pit road. Josh Dillon, Jake Miller, Elizabeth Peters, Elijah Cole, Brandon Barkuski, Mitchell Mark, Jacob Alicia, Curtis White, Jared Ray Hutton, Tyler Whittemore. Dominic Russo's now exiting pit road. Next time by, we will see the green flag. Andrew Skelnick hanging on to this top spot. I've been meaning to interview him. We're just a little short on time, but you don't want to cut it too short or get him when he needs to lock in, go into the restart zone. I'm sure we'll have another opportunity to do so at some point. We'll wait right here with Barney, Andrew Skelnick. We'll be able to launch again. We saw Chris Worrell running him down. Is there a tire difference? Does Andrew get a chance to let him cool off and get back in a rhythm? Will we see Chris go for that lead? Justin Thompson's on the move. He will play a factor. A few weeks into the top 5. Here we go. Green flag is up. Green flag is out.
Green flag.
And we're back racing. Andrew Skelnick shows the bottom line this time, and he gets a good launch. Side by side, Chris Worrell, once again, not a good launch, being the second car. Justin Thompson up the inside. He will already clear him. Through turns 1 and 2. Look at Chris Worrell, little out of shape. He has Matthew Weeks up his inside. The 88 of Nathan Jurgensen will fall back. Here comes the 23 of Lucas Strayer into the picture. Matthew Weeks trying to get into that third spot. He will clear Chris Worrell. Can Chris look back underneath him? Doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, Jurgensen under pressure by Lucas Strayer. Lucas Strayer looks to the inside of Casey Carrington. No, I think Casey Carrington's on the hunt right now. He's charging up. Casey Carrington, he will get around Lucas Strayer and tries to set up the 88 of Jurgensen. Casey Carrington, league owner, dices it up. He now drives to the top 5. Andrew Skelnick hanging on at the moment, looking good. Justin Thompson goes to the middle line. Matthew Weeks now on the inside. He's been making that car charge using that bottom line. I think Chris Worrell might have just brushed the wall. He lost a lot of momentum. Matthew Weeks goes into second. Casey Carrington will grab 4th. And now Andrew Skelnick sees some fast cars in his mirror approaching. Three wide, nearly. Lucas Strayer on the top line. 31 of Drew Prowl on the inside. Strayer into the fence. Catches Prowl. And now we got a car up into the wall. No yellow. The 8 car is involved. Big front end damage for the 8 Budweiser machine. And we're still green. That's Kyle Ether who got involved. And he loses a right front tire. There's a wheel loose here at Las Vegas, and it's not the spinning tables at the casino. He'll pull it off the track, but we're still green. How we managed to keep it green through that, of course, iRacing, if a tire flies off, it's not right like real life. We got to go pick it up. It'll just despawn. But that's a tough break for Kyle Ether, and Drew Prowl just pushing. Couldn't keep it off the wall. We do have a replay when we get the chance. We're just going to keep an eye right now on Matthew Weeks. Is he running down Andrew Skelnick at the moment? It seems like he is. We'll expect it to wait just another lap. Let's go watch that replay off of Drew. On board with him. Strayer pushes. Nowhere for Prowl to go, and the 8 car gets involved. So Lucas Strayer, the reason that wreck happens, and I don't even see much damage on the 23, so 2 guys get taken out behind him because of his wrongdoing, and he's still in it. Matthew Weeks, man, he's running down Andrew Skelnick right now. Matthew Weeks now looking up the inside of Andrew Skelnick at the line. The gap just under 0.2 of a second. He's going to have him here by the time he come back. I got a feeling. No, but Andrew Weeks, he actually pushes up in the corner there. I thought he was going to have a really good 1 and 2, but he's still getting a run down the back straightaway. On board with Matthew Weeks. He's going to run down Andrew Skelnick. Andrew Skelnick takes away the bottom. Weeks, can he rotate now through the center? Gets to his rear bumper. That car is going to get really loose if he hangs there going into 1. They're going to be even as they enter turn 1. Matthew Weeks looking for the lead over the rookie. Dives it in. Is it a slide job? No, it's not. He holds the bottom, giving Andrew Skelnick a chance to defend the top line if he wants to. Weeks can't clear up, and it's a really good defensive line when these tires get worn out. Weeks will get back in line. He'll readjust. This time Weeks rolling that white line. Andrew Skelnick still has the advantage on the line, and that's really all that matters. On board with Matthew Weeks. He's going to throttle up, charge. It's going to be a really hard charge. Out at 2, they're going to be close. No, Weeks actually stays off of him. I thought he's going to be a lot tighter on. Can he get the 56 loose through the corner? That needs to be his goal. Can he get him this time by? He's just about on his door, but that defensive run just works out. Meanwhile, Chris Burrell might have brushed the wall again. He continues to fall backwards. Matthew Weeks, I think this is the preferred line. Andrew's really out of the groove. We'll see what the exit looks like if it's a big run. Yes, it is. He's burning up those tires. I don't think Matthew's in a bad position right now. His tires will be better. At some point, Andrew's tires will fall off. And they are dead even as they come across the front stretch. Matthew Weeks still running the line that saves tire. Just don't overdrive the car. I think you'll be okay. Meanwhile, Andrew Skelnick just all the way up the track. And now Matthew Weeks will pass him. Andrew Skelnick crossover looking for it. Will he get there? This time he has the inside. What will Weeks do? Weeks kind of bobbles on entry. Not sure how tight they're going to be. Dances it up the track, but now can he get the drive off? Yes, he will. Matthew Weeks, I think he's going to officially clear Andrew Skelnick. Into the lead goes the 11 car. But a really hard-fought battle out of Andrew Skelnick. One heck of a battle. Meanwhile, Douglas Henry's on the charge, trying to get into the top 3. He's all over Justin Thompson. Casey Carrington is ripping that high line right now. He's just behind Douglas Henry. Doug trying to look underneath Justin Thompson. That's for the 3rd spot. Doug now up the inside. Douglas Henry pit on lap 19. Not confirmed if he took tires, but with 4 extra sets, he might have gambled and took them, and if he did, he's being extra cautious, making sure he saves them. There's Matthew Weeks coming across the line with the rest of the field in tow. Douglas Henry is just about cleared. Justin Thompson, now he'll get the position. And the 01 car, that's Lilith Peters into the top 5, getting around Casey Carrington. Casey trying to battle back on the top line. On board with Lilith Peters. As Douglas Henry right now, he's driving around Andrew Skelnick. He has the 2nd spot. I think Lilith Peters is about to make a move on Justin Thompson. Both those drivers pit on lap 19. They're driving the way up to the front right now. And by the way, we're now entering the pit window for the guys that have yet to hit pit road. They are going to need fuel within the next 5 or 6 laps, depending on how much they've been able to save. That includes your leader, Matthew Weeks. Douglas Henry running him down at the moment. Look at Matthew. That car's tracking up in the center. He's losing lateral grip. And Doug just putting together a lot more solid lap times while still being easy on those tires. That's Jared Ray Hutton. He's now entered the picture. He's also part of that group that pit on lap 19. He'll drive around Justin Thompson. In front of him will be Andrew Skelnick. Jared Ray Hutton driving around Andrew Skelnick. Lilith Peters, Douglas Henry, all 3 of them on the same strategy. I think the pair are going to wait for Douglas Henry to make the aggress on Matthew Weeks. Get around him, start sending Matthew backwards. Lucas Strayer, one of your first drivers at the top that hit pit road. So does the 33 of Justin Thompson. Front runner now on pit road. That will begin the cycle. And here comes Matthew Weeks. He will head down pit road. your leader will give it up to go get a full tank of fuel and fresh tires. A couple of guys also hitting pit road around him, like Andrew Skelnick. Douglas Henry has your lead over Lilith Peters. Jared Ray Hutton third. Jacob Alicia also pit on lap 19. He's in fourth. Elijah Cole battling side by side with him. Elijah in the fifth spot at the moment. Curtis White behind them in 63rd. Excuse me, in the 63 car in sixth. A lot of guys hitting pit road at the moment, which means a lot of cars exiting pit road. There goes Andrew Skelnick. There's, I believe, Lucas Strayer must have had to get some damage fixed. He's now exiting pit road. A couple of other drivers will follow. There goes the 38. And the 31. Douglas Henry still out front and can go another 19 laps. Give or take. Lilith Peters, 5/10 off. Is kind of closing in on Doug. It's not a lot. It's just very gradual, but he's staying within range. But that draft down the straightaways is helping. Here, a little bit of a lift, a lot of lift out of Lilith. Really pushed hard there, and you're going to see that time drop off from about 4.8 to now 5.8, losing a full tenth on Douglas Henry. Tried to rotate too early, had to get out of it, but that's a veteran move. How many wrecks we've seen from guys not getting out of it when they're inevitably going to hit the wall? That's the smart decision. Live to fight another day. Jared Ray Hutton is now running down Lilith. Jared Ray Hutton has already moved all the way to the top. It'll burn up those tires, but it might be more comfortable. And right now, he's feeling like he is faster up there. Sticking to the middle in 1 and 2. Late apex, drive down to the bottom. It's a nice arc. And he is running down Lilith Peters. Lilith Peters falling off of Douglas Henry at the moment. Closest battle on track, closest to the front. Right now, Curtis White attacking Jacob Alicia. Curtis White up the inside. Elijah Cole couldn't make it work. He had to fall back. Now Curtis White will be on the attack. Jacob Alicia fourth, White fifth. They seem to be running pretty identical lines. There's only so much Curtis White could do in that dirty air without scrubbing those tires. He's just being consistent. I think he's just hanging with the 7 right now. Alicia is getting about a 10th back on him from a few laps ago. Now Alicia pushes high in 1 and 2. That's going to allow Curtis White to begin to look underneath. Get some clean air to that nose. Jared Ray Hutton has now caught Lilith Peters for the 2nd spot. And he's all over the back bumper. Lilith Peters must have really burned up those tires. Jared Ray Hutton, though, has been running the fence. And it's been working out for him. Playing with that throttle. He's making it look clean right now. And Jared Ray Hutton is not afraid to enter on the fence and keep it there for about 50 feet. Lilith Peters trying to take away that line. Gets loose, gets into the fence. That's going to allow Jared Ray Hutton to get up the inside. Big bobble out of Lilith. And Jared Ray Hutton is going to drive right on by. At the flag stand, here comes your leader, Douglas Henry. Jared Ray Hutton second. Lilith Peters is looking back underneath. Did Jared Ray Hutton push too hard on the exit of 4? I'm not sure. But Lilith Peters is looking back underneath Jared Ray Hutton. And at the moment, Jacob Alicia has Curtis White attacking him as well. So 2 battles right here inside the top 5. I think Jared Ray Hutton's going to keep it back in front of Lilith. Jacob Alicia will keep it in front of Curtis White. Elijah Cole starting to run Curtis White back down. He might be able to re-attack. Lilith Peters keeps trying to work on Jared Ray Hutton. Curtis White now side by side with Jacob Alicia. A lot of guys starting to get side by side now. Jared Ray Hutton finally holds off Lilith Peters, and Curtis White gets around Jacob Alicia. The next battle right now seems to be back here with Jake Miller as Alicia really tracks up to the fence. Curtis White follows. The 11 of Matthew Weeks. He is 1 lap down at the moment. Getting his lap back in the 17th spot. If you ask, hey, what happened to him? It's believed he may have sped on pit road or had some sort of pit road penalty. That's unfortunate to see. I was wondering why we hadn't talked about him for a little bit. Kind of slipped my mind after a moment. Lilith Peters still trying to get to Jared Ray Hutton, man. He's still within grasp. He's going to dive to the inside. Jared Ray Hutton playing good defense along the top. Overall gap to the leader, 1 second. Doug is slowing it down just a bit because Jared Ray Hutton has gained a 10th on him in the last lap and a half to 2 laps. Lilith Peters in third. Jacob Alicia, a lot of lap cars around him, and lead lap cars, Justin Thompson. He's 1 lap down. He may have had an incident on pit road because here he comes, trying to get a lap back. There's Andrew Skelnick. He's also a lap down. I wonder if these guys at pit are just now getting their laps back. I figure they'd cycle out a lot better. So excuse me, I may be wrong on that. I think everybody that pit on lap 19 has been able to stay ahead, and just now, drivers are getting their laps back. So potentially no incident reports for these guys. I apologize. That's a missed call on my end. If we want to get technical right now, yeah, there are 16 cars on the lead lap. Some are hitting pit road. But Matthew Weeks is the driver leading the most recent pit stop cycle, which theoretically means he is your relative leader. Once all the guys that pit on lap 19 hit pit road, he should assume your lead. Just behind him, the relative second position, that is Chris Worrell, your pole sitter, back in the hunt. In the 06, Justin Thompson, Andrew Skelnick. So we got a couple of different battles we need to look at here. We got a battle for the relative lead that Chris Worrell is trying to get from Matthew Weeks. By the way, Douglas Henry down on pit road. The only driver that stayed out was Jared Ray Hutton of that battle because Curtis White is down here as well as Elijah Cole and Jacob Alicia. So Jared Ray Hutton stays out. He's yet to pit. Michael Mullins, he's yet to pit. Same thing for Jake Miller, Dylan Rosenberg, Zach Henry, Tyler Whittemore. That's your top 6 right now, all yet to pit. Douglas Henry down on pit road. Ford Tires Fuel. Looks like he's going to leave first out of that bunch. So really good pull out of him. Jared Ray Hutton, he does hit pit road as well. So now we got to go find Matthew Weeks. Matthew Weeks at the moment in the 7th spot, but your relative leader. He's going to pass all these guys on pit road. He still has to get around Michael Mullins and Dylan Rosenberg to get the overall lead, but it appears both drivers have pit. So Matthew Weeks, next time by, will be your leader. Chris Worrell, relatively the 2nd spot. Andrew Skelnick running him down. There's Justin Thompson. These guys are fighting right now for your lead. But what I really like about the strategy, the guys that pit on lap 19, Douglas Henry, Lilith Peters, I'm going to call Lilith Peters currently your relative leader, pit lap 55. Douglas Henry, 2 lap fresher tires behind him. But Lilith Peters has about 6 lap fresher tires than Matthew Weeks. Excuse me, take that back. That's 14. Did my math wrong. That's okay. They're going to run down your leaders very quickly. Matthew Weeks. There he is on the back straightaway. Andrew Skelnick. Trying to get around Chris Worrell for second. Justin Thompson in the 4th spot. Casey Carrington 5th. Nathan Jurgensen 6th. That's your cutoff for those guys on that alternate strategy that did not pit on lap 19, whereas Lilith Peters, as he gets around Mauricio Montenegro, who is part of that lap, or that not pitting on lap 19 strategy, your alternate strategy of staying out, gets passed by Douglas Henry now. For the 8th spot, Lilith Peters and Doug are just going to work together here, probably do a little bit of shake and bake, and catch those guys. Lilith Peters has gapped to Matthew Weeks 7.3 seconds. But with 14 lap fresher tires, I'm sure he's going to drive his way up there quickly. With Douglas Henry in tow, same thing for Jared Ray Hutton. 1 lap fresher tire than Douglas Henry. So we got a battle, guys. And we're not sure how this is going to shake out as Matthew Weeks comes by to clock another lap. Caution comes out. Well, it kind of flips the whole race on its head if we stay green as we're getting close to halfway. I really like the strategy that Lilith Peters and Douglas Henry are on. I think it puts them out ahead. There's the pair there. Andrew Skelnick around the top line of Chris Worrell. Justin Thompson still in the wake. Skelnick trying to work on the 06, but really good pit strategy out of Matthew Weeks. Just have the on-track position. The gap to the rest of the field. It's working out for him right now. If a caution were to come out, I would assume the entire race would hit pit road. Even the guys that pit on lap 60-some, unless they're playing, 50-some, if they're playing a crazy strategy, they stay out, good for them. But I think you got to hit pit road, take the reset, max the fuel out. Maybe the strategy is if you take tires or not, if you want to save a set for the end. Andrew Skelnick trying to make a move on Chris Worrell. They've been losing to Matthew Weeks, but right now, Lilith Peters, 7.2 second gap is now 5.7 seconds. There's Douglas Henry right behind Lilith. Side by side, Andrew Skelnick, Chris Worrell. Here comes Justin Thompson. He's looking for some room to get into this battle. Skelnick pushes all the way to the fence. Thompson in the middle. Chris Worrell down low, still hanging on to second. Matthew Weeks is just pulling away from them at the moment. Andrew Skelnick now needs to worry about Justin Thompson. On board with Thompson in the 33. Really tight there. Thompson almost at the left rear. Skelnick keeps it off of him. Chris Worrell watching this battle in his mirror. Trying to pull away. He just can't. Even with these guys side by side, they're still on par with him. Casey Carrington's even starting to close in on this battle. Nathan Jurgensen not that far off, but look, just down the back straightaway. Entering turn 3 now, Lilith Peters And Douglas Henry driving around Nathan Jurgensen. They're entering this battle, and they got full steam ahead right now. This seems to be the strategy. This is Lilith Peters. Oh, and Douglas Henry makes the move up the inside. He goes, Lilith, I want to be the first one to these guys slower than us. I want to be the one to make the decision, have the track position. Shoots up the inside of Lilith Peters. Now Douglas Henry will be in control to see how they get around these cars. It might even be 3 wide into turn 3. Here comes Lilith up the inside. Doug's going to poke a nose underneath Casey Carrington, and they're 3 wide out of 4. Lilith Peters understands how critical of a move that was out of Doug. He needed to answer, and will draw side by side with the 60 now. The guys on fresh tires are battling, and they haven't even cleared the top 4. Douglas Henry keeps a nose out in the front. Lilith might say, all right, go get him, 60, but I'll be right here waiting if you make a mistake. Lilith driving to the bottom now. Doug in the middle. The first man they'll attack will be Justin Thompson. At the flag stand, the leader just went by. Here comes the rest of the gang. Douglas Henry now to the middle. Lilith will follow. And Doug's going to try to drive right underneath these guys. This is what Chris Worrell sees in his mirror. And Lilith Peters will follow Douglas Henry up the inside. Doug will clear that group. He has to get to Chris Worrell yet, but the overall gap to Matthew Weeks is 3 seconds. Matthew's been putting in hot laps right now, trying to get away as far as he can. Douglas Henry now working on Chris Worrell. Chris Worrell will even, I don't know if you could call that blocking. He definitely tracked the car up to the wall as Doug was coming full head of steam. Doug brushes the wall. I don't think it did any damage. He'll have to regress. Definitely lost some momentum. Lilith Peters wasn't close enough to make it hurt. Now Doug will drive around Chris Worrell. But I think Chris Worrell could have let him go by there. Doug was pretty committed to the top. He didn't have time to rotate down. Maybe that's what Chris Worrell was expecting. Now Lilith Peters will look to the outside. Chris Worrell won't do the same thing. He'll think better of it. That could have been a lot worse than just a car brushing the wall. And so Lilith Peters will go by. Not quite. Still on the top, but should rotate around. And now the gap between Matthew Weeks and Douglas Henry is just half a straightaway. Almost a full corner. Can Douglas Henry get to him? 2.3 seconds off. By the way, Matthew Weeks and everybody else who is on his strategy will actually have to pit soon. Doug might not even need to run him down. He's going to get around him on the strategy. And it also puts Doug closer to Matthew Weeks. I wonder if that'll play an effect on the next time we hit pit road, if we're going to change up when we pit. How long do we stay out? I'm sure Doug would like to get as close to him as he can, but I think Matthew Weeks will hit pit road before too long. Matthew Weeks, he'll cross the flag stand. Here comes Douglas Henry. Lilith Peters hasn't really fallen off, trying to stay within range of Doug. On board with Lilith, Mike Husby. Only car in between Douglas Henry and Matthew Weeks. I wonder when we're going to see Matthew hit pit road. If he's trying to stay out as long as he can, I don't know if it's going to work out for him. Listen, if he gets to the end of this fuel tank and he's still in front of Douglas Henry, that's a success that might kind of give him confidence later in the race to go, hey, okay, If I was out in front of him this time, he couldn't run me down. Try to do the same thing again. It might keep me out front for the end of the race. Again, we're not exactly sure when this will cycle out. Matthew Weeks, now he'll head down pit road. Down pit road goes your leader in the 11. Led the most laps so far tonight. But is this the winning strategy? And you've kind of already made your bed if you're in this strategy. I think Douglas Henry and Lilith Peters, if they want to change something up, that they're a lot less limited, but still they kind of have to stick with what they got going on. The only thing that can change strategy is a caution. But maybe I'm feeling good right now if I'm Douglas Henry. I think he's going to have a really good race put together. Lilith Peters, same boat. They're staying within a second of each other. Jared Ray Hunton, he is right over 2.5 seconds, just under 2.5 seconds behind Douglas Henry, but I wouldn't say he's out of the picture just yet. It's going to be interesting to see how the strategy evens out as we get to the end of this race. A lot of cars hitting pit road at the moment. Douglas Henry is putting a little bit of a gap over Lilith Peters. So it is working out for the Hammer. Right now, Chris Worrell, he pit lap 76. He is technically your relative leader. He's leading since the most recent pit stop. Just behind him, Andrew Skelnick. Matthew Weeks exited pit road. 3-lap fresher tires than Chris Worrell. He's just about 2 seconds behind. But once again, I think Chris Worrell has put himself in a nice spot to try to get some track position back. Your pole sitter lacks some of that race speed that we wanted to see. Gaggle of lap cars with other lap cars who are battling for the relative lead. That's the beauty about long green flag racing with these Gen 4 cars. There's a lot of differences in lap times, differences in skill. Come try these guys out. It's fun to watch these long races, everybody trying to win their own battle. A win for a guy could literally be the win of the race. A win for another could be a top 20. Everybody sets their own little goals in these cars. Matthew Weeks closing in on the pair. The battle for the relative lead. Andrew Skelnick, he's running down at the moment. Douglas Henry. Second and a half in front of Lilith Peters. Really put the afterburners on. Jared Ray Hunton. He's off the pace and in the grass. What just happened to Jared Ray? Did he hit the wall? Now he's down on the apron. What's going on with the 50 car? I don't see any right side damage up close there. Man, and guys are still trying to avoid him. Jacob Alicia out of shape with Matthew Weeks as well. Issues for Jared Ray Hunton. Is it time for him to hit pit road? Same strategy as Douglas Henry, by the way. That really backed Jacob Alicia up. Not sure what's going on with Jared Ray. Jacob Alicia will now look to his inside, battle for fourth. We look back towards the battle for the relative lead. It's just in front of those guys. Here comes Matthew Weeks trying to get up underneath Chris Worrell. Both these guys know how important this is. Weeks can't get to the outside of the lap car. The 3 car will actually leave the door open. But he didn't get the rotation point he wanted. You heard him lifting, trying to get that track bar to work. And here comes Andrew Skelnick back up the inside. Tire difference isn't that great compared to previous runs. So Chris Worrell could tire out those 11 cars' tires as they're getting around Lilith Peters right now. Douglas Henry not that far in front. They could get their lap back. Of course, we're not sure exactly when Doug will hit pit road. Matthew Weeks now even with Worrell. And he's going to power around him on the exit. Matthew Weeks, currently your relative leader. Still 1 lap down. But again, everybody else on that strategy in the top 14 have yet to pit. There's Douglas Henry. Matthew Weeks close to getting his lap back. That lime car out the rear end. Here comes Matthew Weeks. He is now closed in on Douglas Henry. Trying to get his lap back. He will get it. And even almost chops the nose of the 60. So does that give Doug the heads up, hey, I should pit here sometime soon because he's going to outcycle me again in terms of lap time. Is Doug driving out to that fuel tank is on E? What's that mean for him? Is he trying to make sure that he doesn't have to stop again? I think it's going to be too close. If he runs to E, he might actually be just within range. He might need to go into save mode, but the thing is, I'm looking at the last lap pit for Matthew Weeks. Lap 79, 38 laps of fuel. Drivers, the math is not mathing. They will have to pit again. So if Douglas Henry, Lilith Peters, Jacob Alicia, Jake Miller, all the way down through all the way down through Brandon Barkuski, if they could go as long as possible, hit the number, hit pit road, and of course if we stay green, it's only a 1-stop race for them. Reminder, guys, it was the lap 19 caution that these drivers pit as Douglas Henry, your leader, hits pit road for maybe the final stop of the race. They pit lap 19 to top off the fuel, and that's what gets them the win. I told you guys this at the very beginning of the broadcast. That could be a factor. The yellows that we had came early. Since then, green flag. Douglas Henry may be on a winning strategy. Lilith Peters, same strategy as well. He'll enter pit road. He'll come out just a little bit behind Doug. Jacob Alicia, teammates of Douglas Henry, also down pit road, guys. The strategy is in. I mean, they are making their bed with this. They're going to try to make it to the end, and I think they can do it.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
No, a yellow flag comes out, but Douglas Henry made it out of pit road. Our yellow is for Garrett Johnson. Spun in the 15 car around the entry of pit road. This just changed everything. Who's trapped the lap down? Get this, drivers. Douglas Henry made it out before the leader got around. Lilith Peters might be, well, there he is exiting pit road. I wonder if these drivers can get around the pace car. It looks like Jacob Alicia is going to be held behind the pace car, so Lilith Peters gets bailed out. Now the question is, does that give Jacob Alicia the free pass? Now it's showing Mauricio Montenegro. It's showing him as the free pass car. Jacob Alicia trapped the lap down. A lot just happened. First, let's take a look at the replay. Here's the 15 car. Garrett Johnston. Does he try to hit pit road? Oh, look at the 65 underneath him. Maybe the 15 wanted to get to pit road. He's even still trying to get to pit road. But if you don't call it out on the radio, that's what happens. If you did call it out on the radio, the 65 is at fault. But maybe the right decision would have been for Garrett to just commit to not going down pit road. He's still trying to get to pit road. The 65 is just running him over. Again, we don't have radio communications. We don't know what's been said. But if he is called out, he's hitting pit road. This is all on the 65 of Elijah Cole. Man. And, okay, come on, Iowa. There we go. So, by the way, all of those guys hit pit road that were out front. Jake Miller will have the freshest tires. He'll restart in the 3rd spot. Mitchell Mullins, Dylan Rosenberg, Zach Henry. We haven't talked about these guys, and the reason being is because they were on the same strategy as Douglas Henry. The difference, they stayed out longer because they were further behind. The yellow fell at the perfect time for those drivers. But Douglas Henry, up front, let's talk to him. Doug, Noah up in the booth, you got a copy.
I got a copy.
Doug, it looked like we had the winning strategy. You just had to float to the end while everybody else had to stop again. And the yellow comes out as you're exiting pit road. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what this means for strategy, but I don't think it helps it. But I'm in first, so I can't really complain, right?
Lap 94 tires. Everybody else behind you, with the exception of Lilith, lap 96. Do you think there's enough difference in drive and speed amongst the field to where you're going to stay out in front of those guys that were, 8 seconds behind you that got those fresh tires? Or are you going to be in a wasp nest up here?
I think I'm going to be in a wasp nest, but your guess is as good as mine.
All righty, Doug. I'm going to send you back down.
Thanks.
We'll send him back. Lilith Peters to his outside. Let's ask Lilith the same questions. Hey, Lilith, Rowdy up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hello.
All right, you're up front right now. You're going to be matched tires with Douglas Henry, but you got a lot of drivers behind you with lap 96 tires. Although you and Doug have been faster, what's your reaction? You're going to have to hold these guys off. Can you drive away?
Definitely not the quickest, but I'll definitely try my best up here.
All righty, Lilith. Thank you. Could you remind me what team call you're in? I might have forgot when I drug you out.
Kaiju Cat.
Thank you. We'll send Lilith back down. She seems locked in. She just goes, we're going to have to fight. Douglas Henry, a little bit more worried. Oh, baby, next time by, we'll see the green flag. Can Douglas Henry hang on? Will it be a battle between him and Lilith Peters? Will Lilith Peters have to just fall in line? Will she try to battle Doug to his outside? Jake Miller, Michael Mullins, Dylan Rosenberg, Zach Henry. Do they have speed? Have they just been trapped down because of strategy or track position? We don't know. Well, we're going to keep our eyes peeled. He's at the flag stand. It'll be Douglas Henry. He will have to launch. Lilith on the outside. Again, the tire difference, 2 laps. So some of you that might be, that's nothing. Some of the realists out there, a lot of y'all know that can mean everything. But in this car, these guys have been driving so differently. We just don't know what's in store. Douglas Henry into the start zone. Can we hang on for 35 laps? Nearly an entire run. Who could save tire the best? Douglas Henry will launch, and we're back racing at Las Vegas. A long EOL line. Lilith Peters backs up that outside line. It creates a gaggle of cars. And here comes Jake Miller on that outside line. He'll get back in line behind Douglas Henry. Lilith Peters, not a good restart. And here we go into turn 3. Still a big chunk of cars back there. Just inside the top 5, outside the top 5, 3 wide racing. Do we stay green That is the question. Off of 4 seems to still be good. Douglas Henry continues to lead. Here comes Jake Miller, the rookie, up the inside of, excuse me, that's Dylan Rosenberg, up the inside of the rookie of Jake Miller. Dylan Rosenberg into the second spot. Is he going to run down Douglas Henry? We got some guys tight on each other back here, just outside the top 10. Really hard racing. Drivers using every lane they can. Matthew Weeks, he's all the way up there on that third line. Outside of Justin Thompson, into the fence he goes. Almost right hooks the 33. They hang on to it. Douglas Henry, 2 lap older tires, but does he have the speed to fend off all of these guys? Dylan Rosenberg, Jake Miller. By the way, Lilith Peters trying to get back in and on board with Lilith. She's driving around that top line right now. She's trying to get that track position back, but is she burning up those tires? And the entire field just seems to be locked in. No mistakes happening right now. Oh, well, I had to say something. Andrew Skelnick hard to the outside wall with Justin Thompson. Jared Ray Hutton gets collected late. Man, I had to say something, didn't I? Oh, no, Andrew Skelnick, Justin Thompson been battling for your relative top 5, your overall top 5 for so long tonight. Both cars wrecked. Let's take a look at the replay. What just happened? I see Matthew Weeks outside. Oh, we got 3 cars into the blanket. Justin Thompson comes across the nose of Matthew Weeks and right hooks Skelnick, the 11 car. How does he survive that? Well, he is getting the wall just a little bit. Let's watch that again. Again from Thompson. I mean, the 11 car is there. You got to find some room as Justin Thompson goes for a ride. Look, he was even in the fence in the tri-oval, which is why he lost all that momentum. Did he try to block the 11? I just don't know if he's aware he's up there. And that is a nasty hit. And that will end Justin Thompson's day as well as Andrew Skelnick. Jared Ray Hutton gets in it late. Oh, man, you hate to see that. Both those guys were fast. The 11, he's down on pit road. And Douglas Henry can take a chill pill here, a little bit of a deep breath as he hung onto your top spot. Next time by, we'll see the one to go signal, Dylan Rosenberg in the second spot, Jake Miller third. Let's go in and talk to Dylan Rosenberg. Piston broke driver Dylan Rosenberg, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, here you are. 2 lap fresher tires behind a guy that's led probably the second most laps tonight. Is it enough to get him here? It's going to be almost a full run. You'll have to save some tire. You winning this deal?
I mean, all I've done tonight is save tire. So, yeah, I mean, I just scratch and claw my way through the field. I actually would have preferred if we didn't have that crash during the pit cycles a few laps ago. I was perfectly okay with just running the thing out and just making something happen. But, you know, then we got that last restart and I got the second, and I was okay with just kind of hunkering down and just trying to hold track position and wear out Douglas, and I guess some chaos ensued behind. I don't know what happened. I heard Weeks and Thompson got together. Got beef.
A little bit of a
right?
self-clear. A little bit of a self-clear, maybe.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that'll be fun to review post-race.
Okay. Dylan, you know, you kind of have already said, hey, maybe I'll ride around and we'll wear out Doug, try to get him at the end. I like it. I'm going to send you back down, all right?
Thanks.
We'll send Dylan back down. Douglas Henry. He's probably more afraid of everybody behind him. I don't know if he's as focused on Dylan Rosenberg right now as you got Jake Miller in the picture. Lilith Peters is still in it. Now she gets to restart on the bottom. But most of these guys he hasn't raced with at all. And they're all on fresher tire. Dylan Rosenberg, I mean, I was very surprised at that comment. I was just okay if we stayed green the entire way there. And, you know, wherever I finished is wherever I finished. He doesn't even seem so excited that he has a chance to win because he'd prefer to save tire. I think he knows that, you know, he could be in the wreck if he doesn't get a good launch. But he's going to try to hang out behind Doug, run his tires out, and get him at the end. Douglas Henry, you know, he's a very aggressive driver. He's going to push those tires hard. But he'll always find a way to have speed at the end of the run. But like I said, we're going to do just short of a full fuel run, which means almost a full tire run. We got guys that are on fresh tires that pit this time by. Who knows what's going to happen, but Douglas Henry will have the attempt in the restart zone. Once again, Dylan Rosenberg now to the outside. Jake Miller, Michael Mullins, Lith Peters. Green flag is out. And can we keep her green for the remainder of Las Vegas? And again, that outside line can't get a good pull. Dylan Rosenberg, just like Lith Peters, just goes backwards. Douglas Henry has to worry about Jake Miller. I love that number 5 CarQuest car. Kyle Busch throwback. I have that die cast sitting to my right. I'm going to try not to be biased because I love that car. Here he comes up the inside of Douglas Henry. I thought there could have been contact, but he stays off of him. Here comes Lilith Peters. Lilith Peters out of the outside has to lift. Tries to drive it back into the corners. She'll go to the high side. Jake Miller down on the white line. But down the back straightaway, Douglas Henry is hanging on. Here comes Lilith Peters, shoots to the inside. Lilith Peters, an excellent drive right now for her. Getting all aggressive at the moment at the flag stand. Douglas Henry leads. Here comes Lilith. Still 3 wide action throughout the field. Lilith Peters now up the inside of the 5. 5 car on her right rear, doesn't try to slow her down. Now on exit, they'll be even. And Douglas Henry still can't quite pull away. They're side by side in his mirror. He needs to get some distance. Lilith Peters driving up the inside. I love how it looks. She'll clear the 5 and almost runs down the 60 at Douglas Henry. Tight fit. The 5 car might have even had to lift there. Guys, it's not like we got 5 to go. We have nearly an entire run. Here comes Dylan Rosenberg. He looks to the inside. We got 5, 6, 7 cars underneath the blanket here at Las Vegas. Late restart's what we wanted. This is the pole sitter, Chris Worrell. He's in the picture. Michael Mullins in that 64. He's down on the bottom line. He's trying to get underneath Dylan Rosenberg. He will clear into 4th. Using every bit of that apron that he can, trying to stay in front of the 91. Meanwhile, Jake Miller all over the rim bumper, Lilith Peters. Lilith Peters will drive it in. Doing a really good job at wrapping the bottom. Doug is missing the bottom line. Maybe he's more comfortable in the middle. Maybe how hard he's driving, he can't get to the bottom. But he knows that he can play some really good defense off the middle to the top line. But the way Lilith is driving, I think she has the speed. She'll go to the top. Douglas Henry couldn't get up there. Lilith Peters might be making the pass for the win. They try to outbreak each other into turn 1, just about even in the center. Douglas Henry has not been comfortable on the bottom. Lilith Peters will drive around the top line. Lilith to the lead at Las Vegas. And now Jake Miller will have to compete against Douglas Henry, who's going to try everything he can to hang on to this track position. I don't think Doug wants to go backwards just yet. Lilith Peters pulling away. Jake Miller keeps it out in front of Douglas Henry. Here comes Michael Mullins. Chris Worrell still in it. And the question is, who back here, even outside the top 5, is saving tire at a rate which they could get all these guys back at the end? We heard Dylan Rosenberg make that comment. I'm still going to save tire. I want to be there at the end. Chris Worrell, he might even be trying to save tire. Michael Mullins is adding a lot of pressure on Douglas Henry right now for that 3rd spot. Casey Carrington, he's in 7th. He's right there with some fresh tire. It's going to be all about who saves the best. I don't think it's over quite yet for Lilith. Jake Miller Hasn't quite closed the gap as he ran everything he can in that car. 64 into the wall. Wreck avoidance out of Chris Worrell, dives to the bottom. Michael Mullins keeps it up top. Dylan Rosenberg looks down to the inside, nearly 3 wide on entry. Rosenberg trying to make something happen. Doug comfortably hangs on to third. He might even try to cool off those tires and look at going up against Jake Miller if he comes back to him. Meanwhile, Michael Mullins now running that third line. Chris Worrell in fourth. And Dylan Rosenberg staying in the picture. Here comes Zach Henry and the 16 machine. On board with Zach Henry in the 7th spot. Yellow flag. And it's a massive pileup. Not quite, but we got about 5 or 6 cars involved. The 88 of Nathan Jurgensen. He was having a good run. Garrett Johnson involved in another in the 15. Mauricio Montenegro might have been involved. We have a replay of Garrett Johnson. Let's find it. Let's take a look. This is inside the top 10 underneath Casey Carrington. Nathan Jurgensen driving it in, but he's going to miss that bottom hole. He'll just drive into the left rear of the 15 and even finishes him off, comes across the 18 car. That's a rookie mistake out of a fast guy, and who gets collected here? Near misses throughout some of these guys. I think the 12 got into it. I mean, he didn't even try to stay out of him when it happened. I mean, I'm not sure why that's something you think should be okay. If you get into a guy, you already overdrove the corner, you wreck him the rest of the way. I mean, that stuff you'll see in officials, but in a league, especially as a rookie, that's going to be some post-race review. I got to be afraid about the 88, man. That was not good. I mean, in the innocent cars, and it takes out 2. The 15 has already been booted on pit road entry. Man, that sucks. Leaders hit pit road. And I wonder if everybody is taking tire here. Lilith Peters will lead them, and it's the entire field hitting pit road. I did not expect this. We were good on fuel, but somebody said, I'm going to take tire. What about you? The only driver that stayed out is Curtis White, who pit on lap 104. That is insane. Race off pit road. Lilith will win it. There's Chris Worrell, the 64. The 16, Douglas Henry, really bad run on pit road. He comes out so far behind. Douglas Henry lost about 8 spots on pit road. Curtis White stays out. And the 63, let's talk to him. RPM driver Curtis White up in the booth. This is Rowdy. You got a copy?
I got you, Rowdy. What's up?
Well, Curtis, let's talk about it, man. You're deciding to stay out. Were you saving enough tire, or you think you have a chance, or what's going to be the straw here tonight, because you are all alone up here?
This is all I have left. I used up all of my sets of tires, and I got enough fuel to make it. So I don't have too many laps on the tire, so hopefully that'll help, but I'm basically a sitting duck.
Now, how hard are we going to battle? You've made your bed. How hard do we battle for it?
We're going down swinging. We're not going down without a fight. And the rest of the field's not going to be ready for it. I'll tell you that right now.
Copy that.
I've had such an up and down day. I'm just like, screw it. We're throwing everything at the kitchen sink, and hopefully something sticks, because nothing else has.
Alrighty, Curtis. We're going to send you back down. Hell yeah, brother.
Peace out.
Man, Curtis throwing it all out there on the line. Listen, bud, we're going for everything. I thought he'd say, yeah, you know, it didn't work out for us. Nobody stayed out. I think I'm just going to ride around. If they pass me, I'll let them go. No, he's going down swinging. What does that mean for Lilith Peters? He's going to restart right on his rear bumper. Oh, no. What a bad pit stop for Douglas Henry, though. I wonder if he slid through his box. He's going to be thinking about that one. This was his real shot to get back in it. So I think all eyes right now, the fastest driver in the top 3 throughout the night has been Lilith Peters, but you cannot forget Chris Worrell is your pole sitter. The guy who's been struggling to stay inside the top 5, hasn't really seen the top 3 since the drop of the green flag. Ooh, that was close. Will Chris Worrell get this win? Green flag is up. Green flag is out. Curtis White, the old tires on the 63. What can he do to hang on? He said he's going to give it his all, and he will launch. 15 laps to go. Good launch. Again, the outside line, not a good start. Chris Worrell goes backwards. Lilith Peters now up the inside. Jake Miller goes 3 wide back, suction hole in the middle, and maybe somebody almost got fenced in Casey Carrington up there. The 64 Michael Mullins, he's trying to drive around the top right now. Coming back to the flag stand, Curtis White still hangs on. Chris Worrell second. Michael Mullins in the 3rd spot. And we got a yellow big pile up just on the straightaway. Jacob Alicia, Lucas Strayer. Cars are still ARCA braking like Daytona last week. That is embarrassing. We got a replay. Let's see how it happened coming to the stripe. It might have been a little too late to catch anything. Here they go. Here's the field. We're looking just outside the top 10. No, it's inside the top 10. Dylan Rosenberg, contact. I'm not sure who that's with. Comes down across Jacob Alicia. Alicia loses a rear end, and the yellow happens after these guys. The wreck even happens in front of Lucas Strayer. This is just the replay that we have at the moment. And he gets ARCA braked by the 66. Come on, guys. This isn't Daytona. We actually might now have a replay out of Rosenberg. Let's find it. We had our drone in that area. Let's see what it caught. So that's the O2. Where does it start? O2 comes off the fence into Rosenberg. And I am going to assume nowhere for Alicia to go. He gets caught up. The 44 will get caught up. There's the ARCA break into Lucas Strayer. 22 nowhere to go. 38 nowhere to go. I mean, guys are still running over each other. Oh my gosh. That was insane. Elijah Cole, really good job at slowing down the car. That's a great example of what you want to see. This is Lucas Strayer. Ran over by the 66. And Curtis White will live to fight another restart. Oh, baby. Michael Mullins in the 3rd spot, Lilith Peters in 4th, Zach Henry in 5th, and man, Chris Worrell, he'll start on the outside once again in the 2nd spot. Let's talk to him. Hey, Chris, Rowdy up in the booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Rowdy?
Well, we're going to talk to you one more time before the end of this race. Your pole sitter, you've been struggling to keep that car inside the top 3. You've been as far as outside the top 5, but now we're restarting in the outside line. 2 questions. 1, why is the outside line getting such a bad launch? Are you worried about that? And 2, if you're able to stay up there, are you the favorite to win this race?
I mean, I guess I would have to be the first car with, fresh right sides. I made a bad call early in the race and pit a little too early. I should have been saving under caution and got, held back. I felt like I did pretty good to stay up front there. And, then the race just kind of turned to crap. So right now I'm just hope I get a good launch and we get enough laps where we can make something happen. I'd love to win it, but I'd rather finish up top, up front, excuse me. So we'll see what happens,
Alrighty, Chris, I'm going to send you back down. We'll send Chris Worrell back down. Curtis White. He got a really good launch. Can he do it again? That outside line has has been tricky, and Chris Worrell didn't even really answer on it. He just goes, oh, I got to get a good start. But what is it about that outside line? That's been tricky for the guy in P2 because the rule states in this series, the leader goes as they enter the restart zone. And as this is what it reads. It says the initial start is on the flagman. All restarts are at the beginning of the restart zone. So if you're in that outside line, shouldn't you kind of have an expectation of when to launch? It's not like you're waiting on the leader, and maybe these guys might not really know that rule or know how you could play around that rule. But if I was Chris Worrell, if my front tires hit that restart zone, I'm going. Here we go. Curtis White into the start zone.
Green flag.
And will relaunch. Chris Worrell gets a good restart. He's just about there on Curtis White. He only falls back to Michael Mullins, but it's been a better restart than we've seen in the past. But that momentum, man, he's going to lose it. He'll be back in third. Chris Mullins second. And he will clear the 06. Chris Worrell now doesn't have a lot of options. Rides in that third line. Up there on the outside, Lilith Peters. She's trying to get a good run now. But Curtis White is now under attack by Michael Mullins. Wreck in the back, maybe. Where's the yellow? I don't see cars wrecking. I'm looking for it. Elijah Cole, maybe. That's the incident report. Let's take a look at the replay and see if that's what that is. The 02 into the left rear of the 65. Trying to save it, can't. That brings out the yellow on board. Actually, let's go back a little bit more. Oh, I think Elijah Cole might be coming down a little bit there. That allows Curtis White to live another restart. Micah Mullins was running him down. Curtis White, if he just keeps getting good launches, staying out front for 2 laps, and another wreck comes out, eventually we'll run out of restarts. 3 green-white checkers. That's quite a few times he needs to stay out front. Well, these guys keep wrecking. Let's talk to Michael Mullins in the 64. Another RPM driver up into the booth. Michael Mullins. Rowdy up here. You got a copy?
Hey, yep, that's me. I'm here.
Well, Michael, you're starting on that outside. It hasn't been good for anybody so far tonight, and you're this close to getting the win. How do you think you're going to fare here, and is this the last restart of the race?
Halfway through the race, I would have said that we could have run the rest of the race green. Now I wouldn't be surprised if we have 2 more restarts. As far as the top row goes, I mean, I'm sure you've seen I've restarted 4th a few times up here and just been snake bit every single time. I guess it's just the guy being reactionary off of the first place car, but struggling to get going. So I'll give it a shot. And I don't know, Curtis is my teammate, so we're gonna try to be fair about it.
That's what I like to hear. Thank you,
we'll
Michael.
See what happens. All right, take care, man. Thank you.
Of course, his teammate Curtis there, part of that RPM group. Next time by, the green flag will fly. Michael Mullins to the outside of Curtis White. Chris Worrell in the 3rd spot. Lilith Peters, she's not out of this. She's in 4th. I think she's still the quickest car out here right now. Zach Henry 5th. Jake Miller 6th. Ethan again 7th. Casey Carrington 8th. Cody Anderson 9th. Garrett Johnston in 10th. Curtis White, his tires, 13 laps older. Chris Worrell, your pole sitter, will start right behind him. Can he get a good launch? Lilith Peters, second on the outside line. It hasn't been a good launch, but she is the fastest. Green flag is out. We're back racing at Las Vegas. Can we make it to the end? It'll be a shootout. Curtis White doesn't get as good of a launch as before. Michael Mullins right there on the outside. Chris Worrell up the inside. Lilith Peters all the way up to that third line. Could she get a good run on the exit of the straightaway? 3 wide with Jake Miller and Zach Henry. Michael Mullins now to the outside of Curtis White. At the flag stand, it's going to be 5 laps to go. Chris Worrell up the inside, out of the corner. Lilith Peters side by side with Jake Miller. Michael Mullins trying to put the pass on Chris Worrell on the top line. It's a really good defensive line. If he can pinch Chris Worrell low, he's going to try it. Chris Worrell steps out sideways. The car is spinning. He takes it off the track. We stay green. No, we got a wreck. It's Jake Miller. And it's a big pileup going into 3. Nobody's lifting. I thought it was going to be a single spin out of your pole sitter, but Jake Miller, I think, got together. I'm not sure exactly with who. Oh, it might have been Lilith Peters. She's off the pace. The 65. Elijah Cole is destroyed. Oh, no. We have an incident report. I don't know if it's the replay. I think it might be the restart, but we'll check it. If not, we'll have to look manually. Here we go. Jake Miller inside. So, oh, he actually gets into Chris Worrell. I did not know that's what happened. Watch that again. Chris Worrell sideways, sideways, sideways. Jake Miller tries to miss and gets into Lilith Peters up top. And he tries to maybe get it out of the way. I'm not sure who that was. Maybe the 83 gets involved. Oh, no. Near miss for Casey Carrington. Shoots back across. That's the 85 he grabs. Wow. And man, Lilith Peters had a crowd enjoying this race, and sadly, she'll find herself not with an attempt at a good finish. Damage on that race car. And we will go into a green-white checkered. 3 green-white checkers are available tonight here at Las Vegas. We get 3 attempts on it overtime. Curtis White still hangs on. Michael Mullins was battling hard with Casey Carrington. Let's dial up Casey. Casey, this is Rowdy up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Well, if you're going to be in a spot to win this race, I think you're in it. You're going to start right behind the leader, older tires. The outside line's been having massive checkups. You're going to be the one to get it done if it's a possibility. Do you think we could do it with just 1 green-white checkered?
I don't know. I'm good on fuel, so that's a good sign. I don't know if you've probably heard of the commentator's curse, so I'm probably going to get junked here now that you're hyping me up. But,
oh, I only did it to Lilith Peters and Jake Miller and whoever. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know. I've somehow made it through every wreck that's happened around me tonight, so hopefully I make it through one more, because this is turning into like a 2022 truck race pretty quick. But hopefully, man, I just survive, and if I finish 3rd or better, good on me. But I mean, there's a lot of aggressive drivers behind me, so we'll see how it goes.
All righty, Casey. Thank you. I'm going to send you back down.
All right, buddy.
All righty, Casey Carrington, man, your league owner. He's watching his league just catch on fire right now, man. We haven't been able to get just a good, clean run in since, well, from lap 19 to what? Lap 109, maybe it was 96. It's been tight, but Curtis White with his teammates who is outside will have another shot. And if Michael Mullins can put up as big of a fight against Casey Carrington as he did Chris Worrell, that'll keep Curtis White out front. And, Michael Mullins, he's not just racing to, help his teammates stay out front. He's racing for his own win, but He needs to get a good launch with his teammate. Is Curtis White sharing that information on a green-white checkered? I don't know. Are you? That top-line research's been so bad, maybe Curtis White does throw him a bone. Because get this, if Curtis White gets a great restart on his teammate, there's nobody for Casey Carrington to have to get around to get to Curtis. So I think you got to tell your teammate, Michael Mullins, hey, I'm launching now so he could battle Casey and you could stay out front. That's got to be the move, but here we go. First of 3 green-white checker attempts. Can we do it on the first one? Curtis White will lead them into the restart zone. Casey Carrington, your league owner, I think he's in the best spot right now. Zach Henry, Garrett Johnston, Ethan Agar, green flag is up, green flag is out. We're back racing at Las Vegas, green, white, checkered. Casey Carrington gives a push to Curtis White. He's all over his rear bumper. Here comes Michael Mullins on the top line. They door bang. That'll send Mullins up a groove. Casey Carrington, I think he's still hooked up down there on the bottom with the inner side by side. Curtis White down the back straightaway. We got cars up and down the straightaway right now. Mullins across the nose of Casey. Can he hang on? How does he hang on? He does, and Curtis White will take him to the white flag. No matter what, we will end under green back at the start-finish line. Casey Carrington into the teammate of Curtis White. Hangs into second. Zach Henry in third. Here comes Cody Anderson and Ethan Agar. But right now, Curtis White just needs to hang on for one more set of corners. Can you believe it? RPM Motorsports, what a strategy. It's paid off. Curtis White will hang on. Curtis White will get the win right here at Las Vegas.
Let's go. Let's go, Curtis.
Appreciate it, boys. That hell of a run. Thought it was over after, like, what, lap 70, whatever,
Yeah.
whenever that caution came out.
Wow, that's awesome.
And you heard him. I thought it was over, but if racing could teach you one thing, it ain't over till it's over. Curtis White got the win. There was a wreck coming to the front stretch. We already got a car backwards. Let's see what happened on the replay. Come to the checkered here. Curtis White grabbing the win. We can see a spin just inside the top 5. All over the place, really. There are wrecks happening. Look at this. Wow. Can you believe that? I mean, the guys in the back got cut up. The wreck already happened, and we're all the way back here. Guys blinking out. Piling in, and Curtis White brings it to the front stretch, and he will get to burn it down here at Las Vegas. Curtis White gets the win. It was hard fought. We go into overtime. Casey Carrington second, Zach Henry third, Garrett Johnston fourth, Douglas Henry rebounds for the top 5. And it's time to talk to Curtis White. Burn it down a little bit longer. We'll wait for him to quit. He's going to go to that car blows, I think. How about that? There we go. Curtis White, the winner at Las Vegas. Can you believe you hung on and got her done?
Initially, when I stayed out and all the cautions kept piling on, it started to become more and more realistic. I don't know. I didn't think I really had a shot. I qualified like, what, 27th, so I was knee-deep in the back of the pack for about a good third of the race, so I kind of was just doing something I normally don't do and just kind of go a little off sequence to at least try to get myself out of the hornet's nest, which kind of worked when we got our long green flag run in, because I was cycling around like 4th to the 12th range, which was worst I could have been was 12th, which was a lot higher than where I was before the green flag cycle took off. So I was net positive either way. I don't know how it was going to play out if it stayed green. I was apologizing profusely to my teammate Elijah because I kind of boxed him in when he ran the 15 over, and that brought out that yellow, and that put everyone's strategies out of whack, especially mine, because I had to stay out to take the wave around. But the bad news was I was low on fuel, so if it stayed green there, I was pretty much doomed to make one more pit stop, and everyone else would have been good to go to the end. And thankfully, we got some cautions in between. The other problem was, and like I stated when I got pulled in earlier, is that I used my last set early, a little too early, because in my head I was just like, screw it, I got nothing to lose. And then I realized, oh, it's only like 6 lap difference compared to the cars that pitted when I stayed out. I'm like, oh, I don't know how much of a difference it's gonna make. I know track position means a lot here because the track is just so gripped up. Like, you can have whatever tire advantage you could possibly want, but if you're in clean air, you're pretty hard to touch. So I knew that if I'm gonna have any chance at not just a win, but at least a good finish, because if it stayed green, I would have probably fallen back. Worst I could have been maybe 5th to 10th, and that would have been net positive. But I just like, if I can get some yellows, I could probably win this thing. And thankfully, they just they just kept on crashing behind me.
Well, it was a great win for you, Curtis. Congratulations. You seem to be really happy about it. I'm going to send you back down.
Appreciate it, man. Also, shout out to my teammates at RPM Racing Pro Motorsports, Mikey in the 64 car. We kind of had a gentleman's agreement to best man win because he had a better set of tires than I did, but I had the track position. I'm like, if you can get a run on me, I'll try to fight it, but I'm going to try my best to take care of you and not do anything stupid. So I was kind of hoping that if it stayed green, he would get a run on me. And just the cautions just kept coming. Him and the 06 were racing, and then Casey got up to 3rd, and he had a really good restart on that final one. I was kind of worried about him. I got really loose at it, too. And I nearly thought I threw it away. I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to get split 3 wide middle here. This is going to be a disaster. But somehow they got together behind me, and I just kind of held on. That was about best thing that could happen for me. It sucked for Mikey, though. Like, he could have probably finished a lot better if not for that, but he was willing to help me out, even if it...
Is this a bit right now? Are you doing a bit with me right now?
Look, we got
to say. We're gonna Casey, we can finally get you up into the booth. I think he was doing a bit with me, but that was the longest interview I've ever done after I told the guy, thank you, I'm gonna send you back down. Casey P2, man. That contact, how'd you hang on to that and still bring it home with the 2nd place?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough race. Trying to counteract the last one. But,
I honestly, as the league owner, I absolutely understand if that was the answer. I would have.
But I hate that happened with Mullins. I think he was trying to run the middle, and I was trying to kind of run the middle too. I haven't looked at the replay, but I feel bad about it. I don't know if it junked anybody else. I mean, obviously he was pissed at the end of the race, but I would have been happy with a 3rd. I knew I wasn't going to win the race, so I was on 2 tires there at the end. I didn't want to give that away when he pulled me up right before the restart, but yeah, I'm just glad I survived. It was hell after that long green flag run we had. It just turned into, like I said, a 2021, 2022 era truck race, and I'm just glad I was able to survive.
All righty. Well, Casey, congratulations on the top 3. I'm going to send you back down.
All right, buddy.
Well, Zachary, I really had to make you wait for this one, but we had a lot of chatter going on for the top 2. Zach Henry bringing it home in 3rd as a sub. Hey, did you expect to have good at this run? Have you ran with them before, or is this your first time subbing in AACS?
No. I used to run an All-American a couple years ago. Unfortunately, my schedule just hasn't worked out with it, but I always had fun running in this league. I've subbed for both Chris Heller and Brandon Barkuski in the past. So when Chris messaged me, asked if I wanted to sub for him, I was like, all right, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, congratulations on the top 3. I'm sure he's pretty happy to see you get him these points. Way to hang on. I'm going to send you back. Well, we'll send him back down, ladies and gentlemen. That will conclude all the on-track action here at Las Vegas and AACS. One heck of a night, man. And what a finish. Curtis White got her done in the most magical way you could ever do so. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been an epic night. And same time, same place. Not next Thursday. Sadly, I will not be here, but we'll return as previously scheduled next time in about 2 weeks. Have a good night, everybody.